did overpopulation for a topic. I'm Vivian Pang.
I'm Austin Carlin.
I'm Anthony Castillo.
I'm Olivia Ontiveros.
The issues of overpopulation Overpopulation affects everyone on this planet, not just specific countries where it's the most aware. These are the main issues that we spread them in order to make it easier to comprehend. Now, one example of this that you can see from this school just to make it clear. Do you know how when you go to lunch and the cafeteria is completely full? Yeah, that's an example of how the Earth looks right now. Too many people, not enough resources to support them.
So of course, as our population grows, our energy resources are going to dwindle down to basically non-existent. We are increasing in renewable energy, but as of course we are using coal and petroleum liquids and fossil fuels more than anything else, and as we use them more, they're going to diminish, and then we're just going to have nothing, and that's just not going to be sustainable for the human population overall. And
All right. So this is the chart that relates population growth, spatial arrangements, and traffic congestion. And now, as you know, most of you go through downtown every time you go to school, right? You know how crowded it is in there? It's partly because of population and because of the spatial arrangements. Now, you see this line right here? You might not be able to see it, so I'll point it out for you. This line is the trend of how much population and population density is in that specific city, and this is the line for traffic congestion. This line right here, you can probably see sort of some of it. The blue line, anyway, that is the general area of these cities. This is the population growth on the cities in general. Now, as you see, if you combine the population density and the area of the city, you can see it sort of matches the trend of traffic congestion. And if you match population growth and population density, the trends also match. They're both positive correlations.
Okay, so another aspect of overpopulation that we wanted to focus on is food insecurity. So poverty is the leading cause of food insecurity and hunger worldwide, and about 1 out of 9 people are undernourished. As you can see in the graph, the trends of malnourishment in the 90s, it was like exponentially high, and it's dwindled since then until we've reached 2016, where it's starting to increase again, which is the opposite of what we want to happen. And this is happening because of different changes in climate, so climate change, and that causes places that are already accustomed to certain crop and environments, that changes their whole output, and also causes just less crop in general, and also instability, economic and political, such as in Sudan, where they're having an economic crisis with several different poverty locations in the country.
So a solution to food insecurity is colonization on Mars. And when you colonize on Mars, you need sustainable agricultural products in order to sustain life on there. And the different types of agricultural technologies we would use would be hydroponic greenhouses, which allows the growth of plants without the use of soil and just uses water in a controlled environmental system. So since Mars has a different atmosphere and a different climate, it needs unique certain factors such as light and temperature to ensure the growth, and synthetic biology, which is the re-altering of biological components to create a desired product and improve the function of the components.
Okay, so to kind of go on about the last solution, we had to go on with that solution. As we've already talked about throughout our presentation, the world is literally growing at an exponential rate, and with that comes the depletion of literally all of Earth's natural resources, like in the fossil fuels. And whether we realize it or not, the fossil fuels will be depleted at one point in time, and whether it be next generation to come, they will be gone. So what we come up with is the colonization of Mars, and whenever we get on Mars, whenever it happens, because it will happen, there will need to be some sort of renewable energy that we can use when we're there. And what we've come up with is geothermal energy. This is kind of showing what it would be like. How geothermal energy works is you obtain like heat energy from like below the surface of the Earth, and it rises up into these power plants. They're called binary geothermal power plants, and there it's converted into energy that could be used in, so say, Mars. And that's what we view. There are also other types of energy that could be used there. Wouldn't necessarily be as effective, but solar energy is just an example. But yeah, it's what we believe to be the most effective.
And so, spatial arrangements. So, since colonization on Mars has not yet happened, the conflict of spatial arrangements is not really a problem since no one's there. But when we do colonize Mars, there's going to be a strategic spatial arrangement. And over here, this is where the shelters would be, where people would live. And it's under a lava tube, which provides protection from the harmful solar and cosmic radiation. And then over here is where our energy converters would be. So it would convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. And the reason why it's so close to the lava tubes is because the smaller space it is between the shelters, the lesser energy required. So that would solve the solution of energy usage too.
Yeah, here are some pros and cons of the solutions. The pros include more space because Mars is an uncolonized planet and it's actually pretty big considering. And there are also untouched resources on Mars. You know why Mars is red? It's because of the iron deposits. That's an example of an untouched resource. Now, there's also a chance for new technologies because you're going to a new planet, and there might be things on that planet that can't be found on Earth, like for instance, new elements or something like that. And then the last one, it would be a significant step towards the expansion of the human race. And after Earth dies eventually, we will be able to survive if we continue this expansion. Now for cons, the time consumption of this task is enormous. It would take light years. It would take light years, hypothetically, for you to travel the entire universe. But for Mars, it would take months, approximately 3 months. The resource and economic consumption for this would be exponential as well because of the fact that you're sending hundreds of people to Mars. Worldwide Powers Cooperation, but what we mean by that is how do you get these really powerful organizations, and as you can see now with the wars, how do you get these organizations to work together long enough to send people onto Mars? This task has to be undertaken by all the powers capable of doing so. And for the lack of necessary materials, what we mean by that is that no one country can provide all of this by themselves, otherwise they go bankrupt. Now, how you solve worldwide cooperation is that you convince them with the fact that this is for the preservation of the human race. And if you manage to convince the world to help you with this task, then you'll be able to solve resource and economic consumption as well as the lack of necessary materials, as you will have the support of many very powerful nations. Time consumption is also solved because we've already been working on this for a very long time.
All right. Sebastian, Olivia, Vivian, Austin, Anthony.
Perfect. Starting with Anthony and moving to the left. Anthony, what was this room? Sorry, not that one. Okay. In what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
So I tend to like working alone, but definitely coming together like during lunchtime and bringing together different perspectives. Like if we go to the library and put different perspectives and all our research together, it definitely helped me see how like talking to other people definitely can help me broaden my view and how I could like help find different ways to help myself to improve my work efforts.
Austin. What is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
Well, so my individual research was on energy usage and all geothermal energy and all the types of energy that could be used in colonization of Mars. But there were other perspectives such as Vivian's. She was talking about traffic congestion, and I don't know, just other perspectives really helped to increase my knowledge of our solution.
Olivia, correct?
My
Vivian.
name is Vivian.
Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Sorry. Vivian, what is an example of compelling argument for one of your peers' individual reports that you decide to exclude from your team presentation and why?
Alright, so one compelling argument was Olivia's for growing plants in water. Now, at first when I thought about this, I thought we could actually just use the waste products from the colonizers. However, when Olivia brought this up, I realized that we can't just rely on something that will run out eventually. So with Olivia's help, we actually managed to create a more feasible solution.
Olivia, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Sebastian's findings.
So Sebastian's findings were dealing with food insecurity, and my solution was how to solve food insecurity on Mars. So kind of seeing how food insecurity is still an issue on Earth, but when going to Mars to solve that, we still need reliance on it. So kind of finding out different ways to kind of gain independence from Earth's resources. How I gained research.
Thank you. And Sebastian, in the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve the team presentation?
In the future, I'd like to have better communication between us because sometimes it would kind of go off topic when we were doing our research, and also some people have strong personalities in our group, and those would clash with each other. And I feel like the process would be easier to present and do research on this topic if we all kind of came together.
All right. Thank you.